For years, I was looking forward to diving the Cooper River and hunting Megladon Teeth. My first chance came with a 3-day diving trip made up of 3 dives a day. If you're about to dive the Cooper River for the first time, here are 5 lessons I learned. This diving is more difficult than what most divers are used to. The currents are strong enough that at times I needed to use my tool more like a paddle than as an anchor, and the less the currents are pushing against you, the poorer the visibility becomes. Don't get me wrong, good visibility in the Cooper is about 3 feet, but when the current stops, you measure the viz in centimeters. It's for that reason that diving the Cooper River is solo diving, make no mistake about that. Multiple dives ended with 2 divers surfacing within about 10 feet of one another, and learning that they had been tooth hunting that close the entire dive. This is why it's so important to plan your dive and dive your plan. You need to be self-sufficient, both in the major aspects of diving, but also with the secondary elements that may be unique to diving the Cooper. The value of redundancy. Because this is solo diving, half of our group decided to dive with a pony bottle, as they would be on their own if there was a problem. We all dove with multiple lights, not just because a backup is good policy, but because you wouldn't want to be on the riverbed of the Cooper with no light and no light from a buddy to see with. I dove with 3 lights on and a 4th waiting just in case. But that's not the only redundancy I'm talking about. At one point on a dive, I started to put a nice tooth into my goodie bag and discovered that one of the 2 clips attaching the bag to me had come undone. If I were using a single clip system, all of my treasures from that dive would have been lost. Fortunately, part of my dive plan was to connect all mission-critical pieces of gear to me in at least 2 ways. Redundancies. Find a search system that works for you. Some divers shone their light around like crazy looking for anything reflective. Others focused their search to the edges of gravel beds. Some covered as much ground as possible, while others were more methodical in their patterns. I found about half of my teeth out of my peripheral vision, and usually in the middle of a gravel bed. Only once did I find a tooth outside of gravel. Find a system that works for you and work your system. Keep covering more and more ground. Don't focus on a gravel bed that isn't giving up any teeth. While the river only gives up her treasures to whom she deems worthy, the more ground you cover, the more opportunity you have to find what you're looking for. Gear matters. I attached 2 floodlights to a bike helmet I wore and a spotlight to my wrist. I really liked this system as it allowed me to see the river around me while focusing my attention on the area spotted with light. Others used more of a spotted light system to avoid backscatter. Again, you have to find a system that works for you, but please don't forget about redundancy. I could lose 2 lights before reaching for my backup. This added to my comfort level, as I would not want to find myself without a light under the Cooper. I was also glad for a full-length wetsuit to protect my skin from whatever I came across. And then there were my gloves. I wore gloves made of Dynama, a material that would protect my hands from getting cut, but also allow me to feel the texture of what I picked up. When you felt a tooth, you knew it. It felt different than rocks and other debris. Buddies who wore gloves with rubber coating missed out on feeling everything they touched. Navigating the river. I realized just how dependent I am on GPS while diving the Cooper. Outside of your 3 feet of visibility, you have no idea what's around you or where you are. While the current and type of riverbed you're on give clues, I really wanted to look at my GPS to see where I was on a map. This wasn't just for the purpose of spatial recognition, it was also valuable for safety. This is an active river, and you don't want to surface in front of an oncoming boat. Knowing where you are diving in relation to the shipping lane is valuable. I remembered that I have some compass skills. On the boat, I would note which direction the river was running, let's say north and south for example, and that we were about to splash in on the west bank. Then underwater, I could tell by using my compass if I was heading in the direction I thought I was, and check to see if I was moving toward the center of the river or keeping near the bank I splashed in near. Just having a little sense of where I was and where I was heading helped keep me calm. As a bonus, I offer you this. Practice using an SMB and reel before you get to the Cooper. As I said, this is an active river, and when surfacing, boaters won't see you nor you them until it's too late. When you're ready to ascend, send up the SMB while you're on the river's bed, and then slowly ascend while listening and looking for any evidence of a boat above you. Hopefully, your safety sausage will be seen topside long before you arrive, and any oncoming boats will steer clear or stop their motors altogether. It wasn't until my third day of diving that I felt I had figured out just how diving the Cooper River would work for me. This included my gear configuration, search systems, navigation, and just my overall comfort. This is why I encourage you to plan your dive and dive your plan and modify your plan before your next dive. It takes trial and error, which is another reason why the more you dive the Cooper, the better you will be at finding the treasure you seek. The Cooper River can be difficult, and it's different than a lot of other types of diving, but it's also very enjoyable and well worth the added efforts. Dive safe.